Yeah, now I really appreciate the readership of Half Open, Half Closed. And why I'm appreciating is because you have motivated me towards ensuring that I'm able to do even this video. I know a good number of friends have been asking me, Mulunda, you've never announced this officially. You've been selling this book. It has been going viral around, but you've never talked about it in a video. And that's why I've said, it's important that I'm able to bring to you Half Open, Half Closed. This is a very interesting book, if I were to quote the words of some of my readers who have really commended this book to anyone who wants to read it. And I don't want to talk about it because I might perhaps exaggerate what's in the novel. But if I were to read an excerpt, not really an excerpt, but a prologue of this book or a foreword of this book, and I want to read that which was done by none other than Beryl. Chebet Beryl is a media personality. And this is what Beryl said about this book, that at the beginning of the year 2023, I purpose to specifically read Kenyan and African literature, not only to gain diverse knowledge about my people, but to also use this knowledge to change Kenya and Africa for the better. When Marjorie called me to ask if I would care to read and critique this book written by her husband, and that husband is me here, Mulunda Silingi, the lady says that she quickly obliged, knowing that it was a beautiful coincidence. African literature, as she says, has an inclusive awareness that emphasizes the artistic use of words as a way to teach important truths and remind us of what our ancestors once went through. She says colonization had a monstrous impact on the nature of African literature. Africa's history of colonization, paired with its own unique set of values and methods of storytelling, creates a unique genre of literature with very particular characteristics. In his book Half Open, Half Closed, Mulunda Silingi vividly narrates the experiences of Lochomin, a young Turkana boy, in a way that brings out the realities of our African society in the past, present, and the future. Through storytelling, Mulunda wittingly outlines the pros and cons of our African culture. In this book, you will be intrigued as you read about cattle wrestling, periodic poverty, female genital mutilation, forced marriages, governance, education, tribalism, superstitions, religion, diseases, and death. Half Open, Half Closed, as Beryl says, shows the inevitable conflict and correlations between Christianity and African traditions. This book, as Beryl says, is indeed a reflection of our society today. It has been such an honor for me to be part of this masterpiece. So that is what Chebet Beryl talks about, Half Open, Half Closed. But if you allow me some latitude, then I can also bring in another person here who did a nice review. The name is Coleman Madaraka Mangongo, who is an examination officer at Turkana University College, and he says, having read Half Open, Half Closed is like having traveled through the Turkana and Sabaot cultures. Hitherto, it mesmerizes me how the author, that's Mulunda Silingi, can wittingly weave two cultures to give birth to such a unique novel. This prompted me to ask Mulunda if he hails from both cultures. Maybe his father is a Turkana and his mother a Sabaot, and or vice versa. Mulunda laughed and answered, Munange, which is a Luganda word for my brother, you must be cognizant of the fact that many white men came in Africa and wrote about us. Most of them, like John Locke, misrepresented our cultures. They distorted the meaning behind our existence. By and large, I applauded them for having challenged us, the Africans, particularly as a Kenyan, to appreciate our cultural diversity, not just verbally, but by writing about them. Then someone else who is also a media personality, he is called Philip Boyo, a communication strategist and journalist. He wrote in a newspaper in Nigeria, and this is what he said. Half Open, Half Closed brings to the limelight the contradictions in African society that stand between maintaining its cultural heritage and embracing the Western culture that advocates for Christianity and formal education. The author, that's Mulunda Silingi, employs his literary skills to portray the inconsistencies that are in the society where hypocrisy and betrayal take center stage, as depicted in the love journey of Lochomin and Nanzi. The failure by government institutions to effectively discharge their mandate in line with their constitutional mandate is also depicted in a court case painting a hotel owner, or alternatively pitting the hotel owner, the municipal council, the landlord, and a barber. The novel is a reflection of the discrepancies in modern society where self-centeredness is evident in all aspects of life, in this man-eat man society where values and morals are twisted in favor of personal goals disguised as public interest. That is what actually people did in a prologue or otherwise in forward. But if I were to comment about this book in a way that Mulunda Silingi wrote this book, I would say that you have to get a time and read this book, because when you do that, you'll be able to either give me a feedback that can allow me to even write a sequel. You can give a comment as to whether I should continue developing the same book with the same cultures, or otherwise you might have another opinion that, Mulunda, why can't you also write from your culture? And sometimes people have asked me, why is it, Mulunda, you wrote from other cultures and not from your own culture? I wanted then to debunk the preoccupied mindset that, you know, if you are right, and then you must write from first your community before you can think about others. I wanted to demonstrate that yes, in Africa we are rich, and rich in the sense that our cultures can be able to inform us and breathe life into novels, and breathe life into art, and breathe life into literature. And by doing so, it's not necessarily that I have to borrow or get from my community, but from other communities. And that's why when you read this novel, you will think that actually the writer is a Sabaot, or that the writer is a Turkana, or is actually a hybrid of the two communities. But that is not true. My name is Mulunda Silingi, and by going by that name, then you'll know that this gentleman is from the Luhya community. I also want to appreciate that up to this moment, this book has sold up to around 1,200 copies. So if you are yet to pick a copy, please get me on 0729355095, and you'll be able to access this book. I also want to appreciate many high schools that have been able to buy this book onto their shelves. I want to appreciate the universities that have bought this book into their shelves. I want also to appreciate Turkana University College, particularly Professor Cheminingwa, for having bought copies for the university. Thank you, and that is Mulunda. I wish that you can be able to read this book and your feedback is as good as my thoughts.